Hello, my name is Alison Chong Yun, student ID 1024010698. This is my individual presentation for DBA 2283 Critical Thinking. Today, I will be presenting on the topic, should Malaysian students be required to complete schooling until Form 5? My position is one of support. I strongly believe this proposal should be implemented. Let me walk you through my arrangements. Let me start with the background of these issues. Currently, in Malaysia, the Education Act 1996 only marks primary school. Completion, secondary education, including completing Form 5 and sitting for the SPM examination, is not legally required. This means students who leave school early face no legal consequence, and the government has limited ability to intervene. In January 2025, the Ministry of Education announcing plans to introduce a compulsory secondary education policy in Parliament. This forward serious concern about school dropouts and absentees. In fact, approximately 10,000 SPM 2024 candidates had not even confirmed their examination attendance as of January that year. These critical issues, because Malaysia's goal of becoming high-income nation cannot be achieved if a significant portion of its workforce lack even basic secondary education. Now, let me present some key facts and data. According to Bernama, approximately 10,000 SPM student 2024 candidates had not confirmed attendance as January 2025. Even though the overall attendance rate was 97%, this figure does not account for the many more students who dropped out before even registering for SPM. This youth unemployment rate in Malaysia stood at 10.6% in 2023, nearly 3 times the national average. Research also shows that individuals without secondary education face significantly higher unemployment rates compared to SPM holders. Looking at international evidence, Singapore's news and university secondary complexion contributes to its consistency to top PISA rankings in the United Kingdom. Raising the school participation age to 18 was found to reduce youth unemployment. The OECD also reports that each additional year of schooling raises individual earning potential by 10 to 10%. This is not just good for individuals, it is good for the entire economy. Here, I want to map out the key stakeholders and the pros and cons of this policy. The primary beneficiaries are the students themselves, especially those from low-income families. Most at risk of dropping out B40 families may face financial barriers, and this is exactly why the policy must be accompanied by strong financial support. Looking at the pros, the benefits are clear: reducing drop rates, improving workforce quality, promotion social equality, and aligning with Malaysia's economy, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4. The concerns raised by researchers includes financial burden, abortion challenge, and rural access issues. These are real concerns, but they are reason to strengthen the implementation of policy, not abandon it altogether. My argument is built on 2 types of claims: fact claims and value claims. On the fact, Malaysia currently has no legal requirements for secondary education. Those thousands of students leave the system before SPM every year. Research consistently links early school leaving to higher unemployment and poverty, and voluntary outreach programs, while useful, have failed to fully close the gap. Undervalues the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, to which Malaysia is a signatory, recognizes education as fundamental right of every child. Until Article 28, education is also the most powerful social equilibrium we have when students from poor or rural backgrounds drop out, they are denied the chance to compete on a level playing field. And Malaysia simply cannot achieve its ambition of becoming a high-income economy if large numbers of its citizens lack even a secondary education. Based on these facts and value, my policy recommendations are clear. First, the government must amend the Education Act 1996 to legally extend compulsory schooling to Form 5, giving the Ministry of Education in unenforceable authority it currently lacks. Second, the mandate must not stand alone. It must be supported by financial assistance for low-income families, flexible learning pathways for students in difficult circumstances, and strong community engagement and judgment. The economy evidence is compelling. The World Bank estimates that each additional year of education per works can raise a country's GDP by up to 0.37%. Psychologists and practitioners found that schooling raised individual earnings by 8 to 10% per additional year. Investing in universal secondary education is not just morally right, it is economically smart. Let me now address some counterarguments to this proposal. The first objection is that mandatory schooling infringes on family freedom. My response is that families who withdraw their children rarely do so by genuine free choice. Most are responding to financial pressure when the government provides financial support and removes economic barriers. It actually enhances, not restricts, meaningful family choice. The second objection is cost, but consider the alternative. The social cost of school dropouts, including higher welfare spending, healthcare costs, and involvement in crime, far exceed the cost of educating every child to Form 5. The World Bank has confirmed this. Third, some argue enforcement is impractical in rural areas, but Malaysia has successfully enforced primary school attendance for decades. The same system, properly resourced and extended, can work at the secondary level too. Finally, some say not all students are suited for academic schooling. This is fair, but the solution is flexible pathway, not abandoning the mandate. TVET and vocational options can satisfy the requirement while serving students with different learning needs. In conclusion, the case for mandatory secondary education in Malaysia is strong, clear, and well supported by evidence. The dropout problem is real and persistent. Voluntary measures have not been enough, and the consequences: lost human capital, higher enrollments, dependent inequality are too serious to ignore. My first recommendations are 1. Amend the Accreditation Act 1996. 2. Expand financial support for B40 families. 3. Create flexible learning pathway so no student is excluded. 4. Strengthen school counseling service. And 5. Invest in rural school infrastructure. This policy is not about punishing families, it is about giving every Malaysian child the foundation they need to build a good life. The benefits of this policy, when properly implemented, are wide-ranging. For individual students, it means better employment prospects and higher lifetime earnings. For families, it breaks the cycle of intergenerational poverty. For society, it reduces crime rates and welfare dependency. For the economy, it builds the human capital Malaysia needs to compete globally. And for the nation, it moves us measurable closer to the goals of the 12th Malaysia Plan. As I said, mandating secondary accreditation is not just a policy, it is an investment in every Malaysian child and in Malaysia's future. Here are my references for this presentation, all cited in APA 7th edition format. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Alison Chong Ying Xuan, student ID 1024010268. This concludes my individual presentation for DBA 2283 Critical Thinking. I hope this presentation has clearly demonstrated why Malaysia should implement compulsory secondary education until Form 5. Thank you.